Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So this is the first official film review thing I'll usually do on my channel. And I want to talk about a movie that I saw tonight. I saw it a while ago, but I saw it again tonight, and that is M. Night Shyamalan's The Visit. I think it's a good film. Not extremely good, but good. It's not terrible, it's not bad, it's not a bad viewing experience. It's actually quite entertaining if you like a slow burning thriller. Kind of like The Hand That Rocks the Cradle for the old people. So if you like that film, you might like The Visit. So it stars Ed Oxfold, I think his name is, Olivia De Jong. I'm pretty sure I butchered both of those names. But I know Katherine Hine because she was in Bad Moms, so got their name right. But to be honest, this film is not as bad as most people would think it would be. Probably because it's the found footage age, which I kind of like. I am watching all the Paranormal Activity movies, and that will probably be my next video on the whole series. What I think of the series as a whole and rating them. From best to worst. But that will be like later on. I'm not sure if I'll do it before the Conjuring one or not, but that's gonna be some. I'm gonna do a Controverse series where I rank all the movies in the Conjuring universe, or Controverse as it's called. But now we're focusing on The Visit. So Visit is a found footage film about this brother and sister who go to the grandparents' place. They've never seen them in their whole life, and things start to turn weird while they're there for that week. The mom had a fight with them earlier in the age, and that's why they don't go to see their grandparents at all until this time. She had a much older boyfriend with her, and that boyfriend had to leave while the kids were still at a very young age. And that had a big effect on both of the children. But before we get to that effect, I need to talk about why they're going to the grandparents in the first place. So, Mum's going away on this cruise, like a singles cruise, that probably your parents have been on if they got divorced. My mum has been on many of them, and I don't want to talk about that. Don't know why I brought it up. Anyway, so they're all on, so she's going on the singles cruise, and her kids go to the grandparents' place. Grandparents call up the mum and said, "Hey, I want to see my grandchildren, you bitch, bring them over." So they go to the grandparents' place, and at first they seem nice, bake cookies, bring them into town, but it does turn very weird very quickly as they hear noises at night, but they have no idea what they are or if it's grandmother or the granddad being weird and stuff. Anyway, so after that they start playing hide and seek under the house. And that's when that mum used to play hide and seek, because she talks about being there a lot to her children. And while they're playing hide and seek, the grandmother sneaks under the house and becomes very strange, moving very quickly, very creepily as well. And she's chasing them under the house. To her, it's a fun game, but to the children, it's a terrifying experience. But she doesn't realize that. That's the first instance when we see that the grandmother is a little bit off. Following with the off is when the grandpa takes them to town later on in that day, and he sees a person looking at them. He thinks the person is stalking them when he's not, and he goes on and attacks him. That is another instance of when the granddad is weird, but he begins a lot weirder later on. There's a shack that the boy sees earlier on in the film where the granddad goes in and out every day. And he gets, well, what's in there? He actually says to the camera, breaking the fourth wall, "What's in the shack, Becky?" Or Becca, or whatever the sister's name is. So he goes in there, and it's full of diapers, and he has a very bad germ thing, as we see on the train and early on in the film when he turns the light. He always uses a tissue, and the reason he has that is because of the dad leaving. Because it's an effect to help him cope with it. Her effect to help cope with her father leaving is that she's ashamed of who she is. She can't look in the mirror. She can't look at herself on camera. And that comes later on when they're both talking about the father and what they think about him, how bad he was to them for leaving them. Which I think is like, get over it. Your dad left like 6 years ago. Move on. Obviously, it's very sad if someone's dad is leaving, but still, get over it. Okay? My dad is leaving this house, and I can't go and stay with him anymore. I'm fine with that, because that means I can go visit him, and it'll mean more special to him. Anyway, I don't want to talk about that. Anyway, so then the night gets more weird. They're weird. They're weird during the day, but even weirder at night. A quote from the movie. The grandmother, she shows her ass off a lot in this film, which I find very disturbing for me to watch a grandmother showing her ass off. She shows it off after she gets ripped from the skirt from under the house, and then she is nude while she's scratching the wall at night, which I find very odd. But again, I think anyone would. One day, Becker goes to find the granddad, and he's in the shed putting a shotgun to his mouth. What? I know that is very strange for anyone to walk in on, but he said he's just cleaning it. Take his word for it. We see these two people that come into the house. They both work at the sanitarium that grandmother and granddad say they work at, but we actually never see them go to it. Why is that? So both of them come over and they both say they have some big news, but they actually reveal what the big news is. So we left to wonder, what could the big news be? What could Shyamalan not want us to know about the twist at the end of the film? I wonder. Anyway, carrying on, the grandmother asks Becker to get into the oven to clean it. And at this point, they're like, okay, yeah, they're a bit weird, but she's not gonna hurt me, right? And she doesn't. She just cleans the oven like she was asked. The grandmother gets cookie based on the camera on the laptop, so the mom can actually see what they look like, or what the children look like, which is, why would you do that? I mean, she's old, she could just have an accident, like the granddad does in his pants, that's why he has the diapers. But this is when things in the movie get a bit more strange. Stacy comes over again, who was the girl that we saw before, who works at the sanitarium. And she's yelling at the grandmother and granddad, and you're like, ooh, why would that be? Now, if you've not seen the movie, I suggest go watch it before finishing this video, because the twist in it it's good. It's good. Anyway, so they get the mom on the call one more day, and they showed her the grandparents, and she says that that's not the grandparents. Twist. And she's like, have you been staying with these people the whole time? And they have. So she calls the cops, but the cops aren't picking up, so she has to drive out there to pick them up herself before anything dangerous happens. Later that night, they have an interview. Actually, in the day they have the interview, and they both act very strange when they're about to leave the house. They play Yahtzee, a friendly game of Yahtzee, but then the grandmother and granddad act strange when it turns 9 o'clock. Becca goes down to the basement to see why they don't want him to go down there. They say it was mold and he could get sick, but when Becca goes down there, all she finds is the bodies of her actual grandparents down there. And it turns out that the two people that they were staying with are from the sanitarium, and they escaped. That was the big news that the two people they want to reveal to the audience. After that, Becca gets locked in the room with the grandmother, where the grandmother is acting very strange and almost tries to eat her alive. Like, literally, she opens her mouth so wide that Becca's full chin went in her mouth. It's very, very scary if you were in that situation. And then the grandpa hits the little boy in the head, Ed. I'm just going to call him Ed because I can't remember his name in the film. Max? I don't know. But he hits Ed in the head, and then he knew he had a problem with germs, so he takes off his diaper and shoves it in the boy's face. Ew. We go back to Becca in the bedroom where she fights the grandmother. After the grandmother tries to eat her, they break a mirror and Becca stabs her to death. dead. Grandmother gone. Then she comes into the kitchen and helps Ed defend off Granddad. Granddad pins her to the ground, but then Ed tackles him and shoves his head into the fridge. Now, Ed was saying a story earlier about his father when he was at a game, and the father didn't like how he didn't fight back when there was a rugby game, I'm assuming. He didn't tackle him. He froze there because he was scared. And everyone was yelling, everyone was looking at him, but he redeemed himself by tackling his granddad and slamming his head in the fridge. Later on, the mum picks them up and it's a happy ending. The mum explains what happened that night. It's a kind of a long story, so I'm not going to say it. And the movie ends with the boy doing another one of his famous raps. He did two earlier on in the film, and the sister looking herself in the mirror. Overall, the film gives a 3 out of 5 stars from me. The twist gives a 3.5 out of stars, and I do highly suggest you go watch the film if you have not seen it. It is a very good film, even though if you know the twist, it's still a very entertaining film to watch. Alright guys, so I hope I have Paranormal Activity free. Free Paranormal Activities videos up for you, and I hope I get the Conjuring free review and the Conjuring Universe up for you soon. And then the Evil Dead Marathon. Alright guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. I love you guys and stay good people.